Through majestic forests, alpine valleys and crystal-clear lakes, following the trails of wild animals, in search of rare birds, in places where no man had set a foot before. Precious, magnificent nature, in all its diversity and grandeur, in the documentary series, Kazakhstan's Wildlife Sanctuaries. Pine forests stretching along rivers like a ribbon are a special ecosystem that emerged in the late glacial period. There are just 3 such relic forests on our planet, in Canada, in Russia and in Kazakhstan. Pine forests were formed on alluvial sandy soils between large riverbeds. Thick belt of the forest passes from Pavlodar region to East Kazakhstan and beyond, until it disappears in Siberian taiga. In the end of the 90s, serious calamities struck our ribbon forest. Devastating forest fires resulted in loss of more than 20% of the forest. That is why Natural Forest Reserve Semey ormany was established in 2003. Natural Forest Reserve was created on the basis of 10 large forestries. Today it consists of 10 branches and 35 forestries. The main task of the Natural Reserve is to preserve and restore Irtysh ribbon forests. Since ancient times, the forest had 2 enemies: man, mercilessly exterminating it, and fire. Forest fire is a terrible disaster for all living things in the pine forest and extremely difficult to stop. There is a white smoke 50 degrees towards 2 men. 50 degrees, white smoke. Fire team, get ready. 50 degrees to 2-man forestry. Fire department promptly liquidated dangerous fire source. But it was just a fire drill. Firefighters worked neatly, like in combat conditions. I thank Forest Fire Protection Team for quick actions and timely response, for saving the forest. Lightning is the most frequent reason of forest fires. The wind can quickly spread the fire over long distances. There were no big fires in Semey ormany for the last 10 years. Every outbreak of fire is isolated and eliminated on small areas. Natural Reserve has 29 forest fire stations and more than 30 observation towers. 3 branches are using GIS technologies for combating forest fires. It is the first example of using such systems in Kazakhstani forestries. The purchase of an early fire detection system was made possible thanks to the Program for Forest Protection and Increasing Forest Surfaces of Kazakhstan, supported by International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. The equipment is made in Germany. This is a pilot program. We installed it on 9 towers and the number of fires had really decreased. In recent years, there were no fires in area equipped with this system. Ludmila Alexandrova, a young specialist, is supervising the project of information system for combating forest fires. She says that modern radio-electronic equipment will allow instant reaction to outbreaks of forest fire. Towers are equipped with optic sensory cameras covering 360 degrees. lightning direction finder record thunders several dozen kilometers away. Collected data is sent to central control panel, and after processing, it is sent to forestries and branches.
9 точек расположены по...
There are 9 locations in Semey Reserve, covering a total area of 200,000 hectares. This optic sensory system is the only one of this kind in Kazakhstan. There are no analogues even within CIS countries. This system is installed only in 10 countries around the world, mostly in Europe, and here, in Kazakhstan, in our reserve. The Forest Protection and Increasing Forest Surfaces of Kazakhstan program is aimed at restoring lost forests along the river Irtysh. Over 10,000 hectares of young pines were planted on burnt areas during the first 10 years of reserve's existence. This figure is constantly growing. To accommodate this purpose, the administration of the reserve established a complex of nurseries and seed-bearing stations at Kananer branch. Modern technologies help foresters here as well. Automated irrigation system provides young seedlings with sufficient moisture. They use warm water in the morning and in the evening. In Semey they use a unique technology for growing pines with a closed root system. Planting material first placed in a greenhouse, grown to a standard size and stored in a refrigerator until spring. After that, pine saplings are placed on conditioning site. This technology is great because it reduces the period of growing saplings, and also the root of the sapling is protected from stress and diseases by a clot of soil. There are sufficient amount of nutrients to begin with. I believe this innovation will help us restore our forests in a short time. Pines from the nursery will be used to repopulate the burnt areas. In order for the seedling to settle down in the open ground, they must reach certain parameters. This seedling grew higher than 70 centimeters. The neck of the root is thicker than 2 millimeters. With intensive cultivation, a seedling reaches these parameters in 6 months. There are 1.5 million saplings on this conditioning site. Each of them reached these optimal indicators in a short period. In the summertime, the nursery employs more than 70 people. Natural reserve provides employment opportunities for local residents. We employ women from neighboring forestries. Their main duty is taking care of saplings. They are split into sections, each of them responsible for 5 rows of 1-year-old and 8 rows of 2-year-old pines. Young pines are very delicate plants. Therefore, weeding and cutting back is performed manually during the first year. Machines are used in the second year. Specialists of the nursery make sure the technology is strictly followed, from seed collections to final planting. There are 3 greenhouses in our complex. Each one grows 600,000 seedlings per crop, 1,800,000 in total for one rotation. There are 2 rotations over the summer, meaning our output is 3,600,000 standard saplings. We also have nursery with an open root system. The total area of this nursery is 17 hectares. The technique of growing pines with a closed root system came to us from the Scandinavian countries. Few years ago, specialists of Semey Nature Reserve went through internship in Sweden, Norway and Finland. There are many benefits of this method, from saving on seeds, reducing required investments and, most importantly, a high survival rate of saplings.
Агротехнический период у нас посадки это в течение 10-12 дней.
Agro-technical planting period is between 10 to 12 days. We can plant in any weather, in any month of the summer. We never planted in fall before. We decided to try it out, planted 18 hectares and were pleasantly surprised with 100% survival rate when we checked this spring and summer. This never happened in the history of forest management in Kazakhstan.
История лесного хозяйства, и Восточного Казахстана, наверное, я думаю, всего Казахстана не было.
Pine cones are collected in spring and winter on the forest territory. Every year they collect up to 150 tons of pine seeds. After processing this mass, only 1.5 tons of carefully selected seed is left. This way, 8 nurseries and a seeding station are provided with their own planting stock. One of the largest nurseries is located at Morozov branch. 10 million 2-year-old saplings are grown on its territory. Our division provides planting material for branches in Beskaragai district. Last year, saplings were requested for Astana to be planted around the city within the green belt of Astana. We are proud of this fact that Astana gets saplings from us. After visiting Morozov branch, we head to Boroduliha division. Sun is getting ready to set. It's the perfect time to watch the animal world of the pine forest. According to the data on wild animals number, there are 200 moose, 200 wild boars, more than 1,000 raw deer in the forests of natural reserve. There are also foxes, badgers, wolves and hares. Accompanied by game managers, we walk around the area. Vladimir Makhanov is well acquainted with habits of moose and raw deer. Before going down to the watering, the animal stands on a hill, listening closely. If everything is calm and quiet, it carefully walks down to the pond. Here's the path. You can see the tracks. This is where elk was walking up from the watering. Here are its tracks. Here boars walked by to watering. Here they bath and rest. They are fond of bathing in mud. After raging fires that took place here 10 years ago, the number of forest dwellers has significantly decreased. After establishing the natural reserve, employees and administration created favorable conditions for restoration of wild animal population. They provide special feeders for additional nutrition of ungulates in severe winter months. During hot summers, artificial ponds give desired relief from the heat. This is a man-made pond. It was made for wild animals. The list of biotechnical measures of Semey Ormany bioreserve includes creation of artificial watering spots and maintenance of existing ones. The game manager found fresh traces of wild boar family, a sow and 6 piglets. They visited a pond just recently, bathed and went back into the forest. An experienced ranger can read their tracks like an open book. They chose a tree when walking back from the pond. What is interesting, it's not just any tree. They pick a certain tree to rub against. You could see pine resin coming out if you look closely. It's all from their scratching. The tree bark is broken, marked in some places. We hope to come across the moose, the largest inhabitant of the pine forest. Game manager Vladimir Makhanov confidently leads us along the path. Here are the traces of elk's hooves. It seems that there were more than one animal here. 4 moose have passed through here. You can see 4 tracks. There is one, the second one, the third, and here is the 4th. 4 moose walked here wandering around, that's for sure. Walking after the wild inhabitants of the forest, we didn't even notice that the sun had set. It got dark in the forest in a matter of seconds, and only the faint light of the moon illuminated tree tops. This is the end of our adventure. Next time, we'll continue our story about amazing nature of Kazakhstan.